Marco, thank you so much for joining the podcast. You're mostly known on the socials as Fat Boy Grubbin. You're a food connoisseur of sorts. Would you
I
say
would
that's
say
pretty
so.
accurate?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
We will talk more about that later. Your following is actually growing
Yeah, it's been going
pretty
crazy lately.
rapidly,
Yeah.
which it makes sense for the foodie lovers like me. You're kind of doing the hassle that we don't have to do by trying all these places and giving your honest reviews. We'll get into that later though. Let's talk a little bit about how you grew up. What was your
Okay.
childhood like? And then we'll get to what got you into
The
the
food thing.
food thing. Yes.
Okay, yeah. When I was younger, I grew up. I was born in Lodi, and I was raised between Lodi and Stockton, pretty much, until like high school. Then I moved to Elk Grove.
Okay.
I went to Elk Grove High School, and graduated from there. I stuck around here in South Sac area for a few years until like I was like 23 or 24. I moved back to Lodi and lived like Lodi, Stockton. I had a little couple year stint. I was in San Jose, which that was cool, you know. But then
Okay.
pretty much just been back in like Lodi and Stockton ever since. I've been in
Yeah.
Stockton though, like the last like 5 or 6 years.
So I'm guessing you know probably quite a few people from here to there, huh?
Yeah, it's like moving around a lot. I have friends that kind of everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
I have friends in the Bay. I got a lot of friends like up here in Sac, and then a lot of childhood friends and family in like Stockton and Lodi.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot because I lived over here in North Highlands and then I moved to Galt
Okay,
and
okay.
then to South Sac. And then just, I don't know, it was kind of weird actually once I like graduated high school and, everyone started going to college. And then I started seeing how like my Sac friends were meeting all my like Galt and Lodi friends. And then everyone's just intertwined. It's these cities are a lot smaller than we would think.
We probably got some mutual friends too, because I know like people in Gaul and
Oh,
like
yeah, I
that's
wouldn't
it.
doubt it. I'm almost certain we probably do. It's so
I
small
think I'm a
over
little
there.
older than you though.
How old are you?
I just turned 36 last week.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
definitely thought we were the same age. I'm gonna be 29 in July.
okay, yeah.
You don't look like you're 36. It's a
That's
good
what's
thing.
up.
You're aging well.
I shaved. Very good now.
No, you're good. So, what kind of child were you?
Man, I feel like I kind of like have these different stages if I look back, you know, because when I was like really young, like elementary school, I kind of had a lot going on, and like looking back, I think it kind of really like shows in like the things I was doing, like as a little kid,
Like what, if you don't mind me asking, or if we could
like
talk about it?
I mean, no, I think it's cool. Like it sounds kind of crazy, but like I used to have when I was younger, I used to have like outbursts, kind of, you know what I mean? Like when I was in second grade, it was the first time I got suspended, and like I think it's just because there was a lot going on. Like me and my mom were moving a lot everywhere, and I kind of had like this temper that would build up. But like I was like a cool, chill kid. But then like I would have like this like temper like that would like get me in trouble, you know.
Yeah.
But I think moving around a lot, kind of like when you're changing your environment so much and you're not able to get comfortable, it almost kind of like puts you in a shell a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Naturally.
Yeah, because there's no stability. There's no like
Yeah.
safety net of routine. And I think kids need a lot of routine. They need a lot of that structure. So when there's that instability there, it's kind of hard to build your foundation of who you are.
Right. And I think like just looking back, I could feel like the times where I did like have like a stable time period in my life,
Yeah.
like at school or whatever, how I would get comfortable and like how like like I would act different or be different, you know what I mean? But like I moved around like a lot like growing up
Yeah.
until like we moved to Lodi like in fourth grade. I grew up in Stockton pretty much like my younger childhood. And just like I said, I was kind of like had a little temper, was like getting into a lot of different stuff. As a young kid, like stuff that like you really shouldn't be like getting into.
Like just being a badass kid in the class or what?
Yeah,
That people
like
would piss you off. You were the type of kid to
like
like
in
throw
sec
pencils across the room.
yeah, no, like what I got suspended for in second grade was I stabbed a kid in the back with a pencil like hella bad, like for real, like blood and shit. Like I don't like it's kind of like embarrassing now to talk about, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like, and I just remember like having like a temper, like I'd be playing with my friends or something, and somebody would piss me off, and I would just like take off, like
Yeah.
or hit somebody or do
Like rage.
something. Yeah, like rage, like built up rage, kind of.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure my mom would agree to that too. And then at some point, it just kind of leveled out. Um, you know, we uh, we moved, and I think when I moved to Lodi, it was kind of more like, I don't know, something about the environment that was like
Yeah.
super chill, and like I just ended up making like really good friends. Like to this day, like those are like my best friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even after I left Lodi and came to Elk Grove, like for high school and stuff, like we stayed like locked in, and that environment really brought out kind of like the best of me to a
Yeah.
degree.
Was it a cultural difference to move to like Stockton to Lodi in
Um,
terms of the environment? I know you mentioned the environment was different, but like, was it a notable difference for you?
well, when we moved to Lodi, we used my grandma's address,
Hmm.
and I went to school like in the country.
Yeah. Well, it's a
Yeah,
straight
so
farm
it
town.
was just like um, all like either Mexican or white people pretty much,
Yeah.
and it was just more country vibes. Everyone was like more like super like down to earth. I think as kids, like we like growing up out there, we played outside hella. We played like in the vineyards. We like like when you're at that age where we like built forts and stuff
Hmm.
and did all types of cool stuff. Compared to like living more in the city. Like you're running around town, you're running around the streets, or
Yeah.
like getting into like different stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. When I moved to Galt, like my lifelong friends that like into adulthood were like family are my friends that I made in Galt.
Really?
It was a huge culture shock coming from a bigger city to a smaller city. I was like, it was just different. I don't know. Lodi gives me a lot more loving, like almost southern hospitality vibes compared to Galt. Galt was a little bit more damn, I don't even know the word. I don't want to say conservative, but it is conservative. But it was like a much more I don't know, I feel like people were a little bit more judgy. I think Lodi
Yeah.
has more of the old school like Mexicans, the like
Yeah.
abuelitos and abuelitas that are hecka like loving, and then their kids are a reflection of that. And then Galt was a little bit more like, oh, you didn't grow up in a nice house, you know?
I don't know the stats, but I would say like Lodi to me feels like it's like 50% Mexican.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously it's a big agriculture town. So like,
And a lot of the families are like so my biological father, he all his family's from like a Campo, Lodi,
oh yeah,
and then there was like the Gutierrez and the Gomez and the Garcia, and they all come from Yahualica, Jalisco, or like the
yeah,
same pueblo. So like it's almost like generations of families that moved from Mexico that came over
yep.
there and just
A lot of my
had babies.
grandpa's from Mexico, and all his like a lot of the families, they came at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they all like knew each other and came from the same parts of Mexico. And I
Yeah.
mean, like some of those names you be throwing out there, like they're all like, oh yeah, we came with the Molinas, like we know them, like we know your
Yeah.
grandparents and this or that. You know what I mean? I'll
Isn't
run
that
into
a
people.
trip?
It's a trip, yeah.
It's hella a trip. It always trips me out. And then how everyone's like, dude, I have cousins that I'm like, oh shoot, I would have never thought they were my cousins. And it was actually hella funny. I was talking to my mom and I was like, thank God that I ended up meeting my dad's side of the family, because it could have easily been one of those things where I'm like talking to somebody or like a little boyfriend and I don't
Yeah,
even know
yeah.
they're like my second
For
cousin from
real,
my
right?
dad's side, because everybody is so intertwined
And then
over
they
there.
have big ass families probably.
Big
My
ass
grandpa
families.
was like in the middle of 11.
Yeah.
So he had 10 brothers and sisters. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on my other side too, my other grandpa was the youngest of 13. So it's like,
Sheesh. Yeah, my great grandma had 13 kids,
that's crazy.
and then everyone just had hella babies.
Yeah, that's hella crazy.
Yeah. So how were you in your adolescence, your teenage years?
So yeah, like I, let me see, let me backtrack a little bit. So I grew up in Stockton for elementary school. Then I moved to Lodi at the end of elementary school to middle school, and we were still getting into like, you know, shit that kids get into. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess maybe I didn't really clean up that much because we were getting into shit to where my mom, after seventh grade, like my grades were bad. Like I was getting suspended again. We were getting into like fights and stuff a lot. So she moved me again schools, but for 1 year she put me in a private school.
Yeah.
So it's
What
like
was that like?
it was like hella different because it was hella small.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was only like I don't know however many kids. Like we would have like normal sized classroom.
Yeah.
Like what's a normal sized classroom? Like 30 kids or something like that. But there would only be like three different classrooms like total. So it's probably like only 150 kids in my whole grade probably. You know what I mean?
Dang.
It was hella small. But it was fun. Like I look back at that year as being hella fun. We had to wear uniforms and stuff, but I still met, there's cool people everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But then I think my mom was kind of just like, yo, we need to get just completely out of this area for
Mm.
you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then we moved to Elk Grove. When Elk Grove at the time was like one of the fastest growing cities in the nation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We moved right there off of Calvine and Power Inn,
Oh, yep. I
right
know where
behind the
that's
Lowe's
at.
right there.
Yep.
And I started going to Elk Grove. That was the biggest culture shock to me.
Really? Why?
I feel like going from Lodi and Stockton to Elk Grove was a trip. It was more diverse, like because you had like more Asians and more black people, but at the same time, I think it was because Elk Grove was so fast growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I felt the most like racial tension.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
could see that.
a lot of people from like Wilton and those areas. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I know there's a lot of history like over there in Elk Grove and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think just like the town was growing faster than the people were really ready for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
But I'm not saying like it was like hella bad. I mean, there was like a couple of racial like fights and stuff we had there at the school, but it was just a trip. Like that was the place I felt most like in the beginning of my high school career when I was not career, but my high
Yeah.
school years.
Yeah.
Like as a freshman, sophomore, it took me a minute to get comfortable. I would like make some friends freshman year. And then sophomore year, I'd make a different set of friends. And by the time I was junior and senior, like I was having fun. Like it was
Yeah.
cool.
Do you feel
But
like people would try to press you?
um, not try to press me really, but just like little slick comments I feel like from like like white people pretty much, which is weird because like I'm biracial, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So like to white people I've always been Mexican, but to Mexicans I've always been like
On the lighter
not
side?
Mexican
Yeah.
enough, like I don't speak
Yeah.
Spanish and you can tell like okay, he looks Mexican, but you look like white kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was always kind of like once I came up here more like on the fence, like around like in the 209, like I just like gravitated towards like all my Mexican homies, so
Yeah.
it's like I kind of just fit in like that naturally, but up here was kind of like a little different. So I don't think people tried to press me. It was normal high school stuff, you know what I mean? Like I got in a little bit of altercations, but nothing too crazy.
I feel like every time I moved, I had to prove myself all over again. But it also might be because I feel like girls are a lot more catty than boys.
Yeah.
Boys tend to be a little bit more chill, cool, like it ain't that big of a deal. Girls, on the other hand, you're the new girl at school. All the guys are like, "Oh, this is the new girl," and then girls like are weird about it. And I just feel like everywhere I went, every new school, it was someone had an issue with me for no reason, and I didn't even know who the hell they were.
Yeah, I mean, I did get that. There was like these weird people, some people that would just be weird at school. Like they had nothing better to do than like,
Yeah,
I mean, just like, I don't know. I never got like bumped into or jammed up or nothing like that, but just like little comments or something like in the classroom or something. And,
yeah.
and yeah.
Well, I know. I mean, I've picked up on the fact that you didn't mention like a dad or anything. Did you grow up with a father in the home?
So my dad passed away when I was like 7 years old.
Oh my gosh, my condolences.
Yeah. And, you know, yeah, I didn't have him in my life pretty much, like, and
Do you think that added to your rage?
yeah, I think so. Like, there's a kind of a lot going on. Like, I was kind of wondering, like, how when you asked me about my childhood, like, how deep do I get or whatever? Because it is kind of like a lot of craziness going on. I lost my dad when I was 7. I lost him to he had cirrhosis of the liver. He was a big drinker,
Mm,
and he was actually really young. He was only 27 when he passed away.
wow.
And and my mom like at some point when I was young got really into church,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why like we kind of like were bouncing around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just me and her, and we would live like with different families,
Yeah.
like a few different families. We'd like get a room from them or something, and I would usually go to school wherever like their kids went to school.
Yeah.
And that lasted for a little while. She kind of like in her eyes, was pretty much trying to like save me a little bit because like my dad's side of the family and just like how things kind of were in that environment, and was kind of crazy, a lot of
Yeah.
drugs and alcohol and gang banging, and stuff like that. So she like was always trying her best to like get me out of there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like, she got really into church. We kind of like, we would live with different families from the church. And like I said, I would go to school where they would go to school. We would eat dinner
Yeah.
with them.
So are you an only child?
I was until I have a brother and a sister.
Oh, okay.
My mom got remarried
Yeah.
later on.
A big age gap?
Big ass age gap. My
What's the
mom
age gap
has
if you don't
said
mind?
before that she feels like she has three only childs, and to a degree,
Yeah.
because my brother's 10 years younger than me,
Yeah.
and then my little sister is 17 years younger than me.
Sheesh. And I thought my age gaps were
Yeah,
big.
it's crazy, huh?
Yes. No,
So
I lived that too with my siblings. I'm 6 years older than my sister, which ain't that bad. And then 10 years with my brother, 13 years with my youngest brother. So I feel like the
yeah,
maternal instinct with them was like,
yeah,
I was just big sister. You know what I mean? People are always shocked that I have such younger siblings.
yeah. It's a trip, But I love them just like like my regular brother and sister. Even though my
Yeah.
little sister, we didn't grow up in the house together too much. It's
Same.
crazy, like, because I feel like I didn't move out too young, but like I wasn't at the house by the time I was like 18, 19, 20. Like I was barely staying at the house, right? And then
Yeah.
like I think I moved out on my own when I was like 22.
Yeah.
But my sister was only like probably like, shoot, 5 years old. So it's like since
Yeah.
then it's like I never lived at home, so I would only see her when I was pop in or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Same with me. I had to leave my house at like 17. And then me and my youngest brother were just talking about it because him and my oldest daughter are only 4 years apart. And I was really like,
That's
oh
crazy.
shit. Like I really didn't see you grow
Yeah.
up. And then me and him like cried about it and shit. And I was like thinking, wow, by the time he's 21, like, or, my daughter's 21, he's only going to be what, 25? Like, that's not that different. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we just put it into
It's a
perspective. Like,
trip, huh?
right now, it's because they're little. It seems like there's a big age gap because she's 10, he's 14.
Mhm.
But once they're older, once they hit 18, that's like, y'all could go out and kick it together if you wanted to.
Yeah,
That's so
like
weird to say out
it's
loud.
it's weird how it happens like that sometimes. Like
Hmm.
especially going back to like my grandpa's the youngest at 13. He
Yeah.
has nieces and nephews that are older than him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's real
Like
Mexican
that's
family
crazy,
shit
huh?
right there.
It's like he has nieces and nephews that are like way older than him because
Yeah.
like he was like the youngest of 13, but it wasn't straight 13 years in a row that had
Yeah.
I think there was a gap and then him, then so like I never asked him like how much older his older brothers and sisters are than him, but
Yeah.
yeah, I always tripped out how he's always like my niece and
Yeah, yeah, that's that Mexican big family stuff. I swear to you, it is. Okay, so we got a little insight on that was like actually really heavy right there.
I mean it
You
gets
said we
deep
had a
to
lot
be
going
honest,
on, but then you hit us with some like that was a lot going on.
yeah, I
It makes
mean
sense now why.
that early part of my life like was like it was pretty crazy when I look back now that I'm older.
Mhm.
Um and like how much was going on. Now that I'm older and I have a son, it's like I look and I think like, damn, my mom was only like 20, like hella young.
Yeah.
Like and the shit she was doing and like as far as like making it happen and making it work, and like the drama that was going on and everything. I'm like, damn, my parents were hella young and all this stuff was happening like
Yeah.
cuz like it got ugly. You know what I mean? It got ugly
Like
from
in what sense?
like there was like a whole battle there. Like my mom like took me pretty much. And because
Mm-mm.
she felt like it was the best thing to do, and of course that's not gonna sit well with like my dad's side of the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad himself at the time, as he was still alive. So there was like a lot of battles going on there, and it got ugly, and then obviously then my dad ended up getting sick and then passing away, and it just was like it was a trip, and me caught in the middle. So I think like looking back, that's where a lot of that like
How did it
raised
feel
me.
to be caught in the middle?
Yeah, it was a man, like going back, I don't know really if I could channel those feelings of how it felt, but I just remember like hella wanting to see like my dad's side of the family because I had all my cousins were like the same age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one cousin's exactly a year older than me, one cousin's exactly a year younger than me, the next two were like 2 and 3 years younger than me, so we're
Hmm.
all like the same age, and then like they just always had a great energy and hella fun. Like, like on that side of the family, like everyone, we're all jokesters, like clowning
Yeah.
around, like having hella fun, like a little bit more uncensored with stuff. You know what I mean? Like I said, my mom really got into church, so like growing up with my mom, like everything was really like we didn't really listen to this type of music, or she didn't want
Yeah.
me watching these type of movies. Like she was super like she became super strict because she was so worried about how I was gonna turn out,
Yeah.
because I'm sure she's worried about like genetically what's in
What you're,
me, and then also
yeah.
the environment or
Yeah.
whatever, And
And now obviously you're older, and I'm sure you understand your mom's perspective of why she was trying to shelter you from those things. But when you were younger, did you ever grow resentment towards your mom?
yeah, like I'm pretty sure she knows. We never really talked about it, so like I feel kind of like bad,
Oh, my
like she
bad.
watched. No, but no, but seriously, honestly, like yeah, there was a time, and it's like there's so much to kind of like unpack there,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I'm older and I understand, but I think that even she, now that she's older, would be like, yes, she agrees with what she had to do, but I think she would have done it a little differently.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
hindsight's
so.
always 2020.
Exactly, right?
You don't know until you know.
And then even now that I'm older, I ran into like some of my dad's homies and stuff, and people from like my mom's side of my dad's side of the family, and they've been like, "Hey, your mom, like, she made the right move." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still think everyone would kind of be like, "We wish she would have done a little different."
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will look back and they're like, "Yo, like,
Given
she
the
got you out of
circumstances.
there. Like, who knows what would have happened or how you would have turned out? Like, you know what I mean? Not that
Yeah.
everybody turned out bad or nothing like that, but just like knowing, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I think you should talk to your mom about it.
And we have talked to about it sometimes. We used to talk about it when we were younger, but it would turn into a fight.
Yeah, we'll see. But
You
now
know?
you're older,
Yeah.
you're wiser, you have your own
Yeah.
son, you know what parenting entails. And it might be healing for your mom. Because I feel like, from
Yeah.
a woman's perspective, a mother's perspective, we always want to do what's right for our kids. And like, hindsight being 2020, in retrospect, you think, man, I should have did this different, or man, I could have went about it like
Yeah.
this, and you live with that mom guilt. And
Hmm.
I think she'd probably be able to piece the puzzles together of like the struggles you were going through with having lost your dad and having that, void in your heart.
Yeah.
Because every child needs a father, right?
Right.
And also, even you giving her kudos of like, I see that you did what you felt was best, and honoring that. I think
Yeah.
as a mom, it might do her good to hear that and feel that, and for you also as a son,
Yeah.
to hear whatever she has to say. I'm always
No.
big on like
No, you're right.
conversations.
And no, you're right. And it just sucks right now because she lives in LA now, and
Yeah,
like I'm terrible with the phone. Like
yeah.
I'm like terrible. Like I
Guess you
don't
got to
call.
take a trip.
Yeah, no, I know. And then it's like, trying to get away for a little bit. I always said when she moved down there, I was like, man, I'm gonna go over there all the time.
Yeah,
Man, I've been over there like twice.
yeah.
Like
It's
one was my
hard.
sister's graduation, one was like a holiday or something. I can't remember, but um, no, there's definitely. I think we've talked about it here and there, but like yeah, there's definitely like probably a talk that needs to be had for
Yeah.
sure.
And the plus side, if you go to LA, there's like a shit ton of food
Oh
that you
hell yeah! I have a whole L
like,
in my
bro.
notes in my phone. I have like different cities, and I have LA. Like LA to me right now is like the capital of the world for food. Like I don't know if it's
Yeah,
always been like that, but since I've been doing research, for a while, I know New
yeah,
York is crazy and Chicago and different places, like even places in Mexico, like Mexico City and
yeah. Oh
Japan.
yeah.
But LA though, I know has like,
Their night market looks crazy.
is it the El Gato night market
I
one? Is that
think
the one
so,
you
babe. Is
seen?
that the one that we looked at? That we're like, man, we want. They be having the like horchatas with ice
And with the
cream, and
bags and stuff. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and it just looks. I'm like,
Their night
man,
markets are crazy. Everything they're doing is crazy.
we
Like.
gotta go there hella hungry because I'm gonna
Hmm.
want to try out things.
No, there's places that like I have saved that like there's places from like before I even started my food page I
Yeah.
saved because like I was always into like the YouTube stuff like Fuck That's Delicious and Munchies, and I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you know what that is, or like
No.
Munchies was like Vice. Did you ever watch Vice?
Yes.
So Munchies was like Vice's like food thing,
Okay.
I think, if I'm getting that right. And it was just like food documentaries and people checking out
Yeah.
food, and I used to watch that shit. Like
Yeah. Well, that's a good transition. I see that you have a love, like definitely like a passion for food. Has this always been there? Have you
yeah,
been a
I mean,
food
yeah,
connoisseur since you
this
were
don't
little?
this ain't nothing new right here. I've always been a heavy kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always loved food. And I just think of food is really interesting. to me also more so I like art and creativity
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So it's like for some reason I never was disciplined enough to stick to drawing or anything like that,
Yeah.
or I never was like a musician or nothing. So for me, what I really got attracted to was like kind of videography and documentaries, and like a lot of that stuff that would watch would be like food based,
Mm-hmm.
and like getting the insight on how creative people can be with food. I mean,
Yes.
like the endless amount of possibilities, the way you can cook things, the way you can season things, like the ingredients, like it's like blows my mind. You know
It's
what I
art.
mean? Yeah, it is art. Like the art side of culinary. Obviously, there's like slapping a burger on a grill and put some cheese on it is food or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But when you bring an art to it, like anytime anybody brings an art to something, like that always caught my attention, and
Mm-hmm.
like somehow I just found my direction with this food thing that is like I don't even know how it just like
Yeah, that's what I was
happened.
gonna say. How did that even get? Like, what inspired you to start?
You
Because
know,
your social media is growing pretty fast. For those who don't
yeah.
know, Fat Boy Grubbin, you review different foods, and you give a very honest review too.
I
I've
have
seen
been
some things where I'm
trying.
like, "Ooh,
I
sheesh."
have been trying to more because it didn't start out like that.
Yeah.
Like to answer your question, how it started out was I wasn't even on social media. Like I used to have Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and then like I kind of like got away from it. I was kind of like the guy who like I don't want to be on social media,
Yeah.
like like maybe like 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, right? So I was on social media for years. And then I just kind of was like, man, I miss being in touch with those friends, especially
Mm-hmm.
like because I was living in San Jose for a little bit. And that's when I was heavy on social media. And then like I had a lot of kind of like stuff go on. And I just kind of like backed off from like the world a little bit. And I just cut off my social media and just was working and doing my thing. And then I don't know where oh, you know what? The idea started from all the YouTube shows I used to watch. I used to
Yeah.
watch all these YouTube shows like about food and different things and different documentaries and Action Bronson and Fuck That's Delicious. You ever?
Yes. Yes.
So like that's like my favorite show, right? Like
Yeah.
I could watch that all day, and I just felt like doing something locally because I was like, man, there ain't nobody putting on the local spots. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it was untapped.
Yeah.
I see all these people in LA, I see all these people, all over the place. And so then that's when I started my Instagram. And I told my boy about my idea. I was like, hey man, I didn't even know how I was gonna do it yet.
Yeah.
And he made a label for me, my homie that just does art and stuff for fun on the side and graphic design. He made that logo for me. And then it sat for like maybe 2 years, right?
Shit.
Because then I started my Instagram. Then I was like, okay, I had to learn everything new about Instagram
The
again. Because
marketing
when I
and
got off Instagram, it was you would post a picture.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like a picture, hashtags, and you put some filters on it. I went back and looked at my personal Instagram. I was like, this is some ugly ass pictures. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, posting like some random ass pictures of a beer at a bar. Just, I
Yeah.
mean,
It
no,
was hella
like,
random.
hella random. It was like how you would it used to be you would post like a status or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then it turned into you would just post a picture. So it'd be like random ass pictures like, oh, I'm at the bar or I'm at whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So like I kind of started learning Instagram again, and I was like, I'm gonna start this thing, and then that's when I started finding that people actually out there doing this, the
Mm-hmm.
foodie thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh shit, there's people doing this, and like it started out like me just posting pictures, like okay, I just have to start posting. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do this, what I'm gonna do, but I just know I have to start, right? So I finally got the motivation from a few different things that kind of inspired me, and I just started posting pictures, and then I tried to do a video, and I was trying to do a video originally where I was talking or whatever, and I had my son's mom at the time. We were still together, and she was like recording me, and I was like felt weird talking in front of the camera in front of her, and I was like, this is weird. I was like, it was a pizza place, and I was like, whatever. And then I was just like, stop, like it's weird. Like
No,
she was like
I
looking at me like, and I'm just like, man, stop looking. Like I feel like you're judging me already. You know what I mean? It was just awkward.
I feel you with that shit because I feel the same way. Even just making my content with him,
Yeah,
I'd be
probably
like,
like
"You're
your
sitting
first
there
part.
listening to me. I don't like this."
Yeah, probably like your first time like trying it, right? Like getting
Yeah,
out of your comfort zone, like breaking the seal, so to speak, and like trying to get it just cracking.
that's hilarious.
So like I was like, this is weird. So I just took some video and then like I went home and I looked at it. I was like, this sucks. And so what I did was I was like, you know what? I I've seen people do voiceover stuff. So instead of taking the talking parts, I just took the footage parts
Yeah.
and I did a voiceover. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, that was okay. So I posted it, and it was just a pizza place I wanted to share. That's the whole thing that got into me in the first place. The whole mindset of it was I just want to share fire places that I like to eat at.
Yeah.
It was never like, oh, I'm gonna go review places, right? It was
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna just share because I felt like no one was putting spots on because everything I was watching on YouTube and stuff, motherfuckers weren't out there like rating stuff and
Yeah.
sharing, and like sharing. They were just like showing you places, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, don't be stingy. What was a pizza joint?
Oh, it's called Fired Pizza, and they've
Oh.
done like crazy. They have a brick and mortar now. It was like my first video. They had only like a little pizza truck,
Yeah.
and then I think they got a second pizza truck, or I don't know how that worked. But now they have a brick and mortar, and they're getting really recognized in the area for having like really good pizza.
That's so cool.
And
Now I
then
gotta try
so,
it.
yeah, it's good. And then I did a second video and a third video, right? And then I was like, man. Then I started really getting into my editing, and I was like, I want to make this look better and this look better, right? Like I really like started like focusing on it and taking a passion for it to the point where it's like, and my son was like, I started doing this like, man, was he born yet? I can't remember. Yeah, he was born because what really inspired me was I was home on my baby bonding, watching YouTube, and it was like COVID. He was born in 2021, so
Okay.
COVID ended up lasting like 2 years, damn
Yeah.
near, right? So it was like a heavy year into COVID, and things were just still kind of like limited or whatever, and everyone was at home, so. Um, yeah, just one thing led to another. I started posting it, and then I started taking my videos more serious, more serious. And then it's like I go back and I look and I'm like, damn, that's crazy how far I've came.
Yeah.
Like,
And the learning curve. I think that's the part of like social media content creating that people don't really understand. There's a huge ass learning curve
oh yeah.
of marketing, of trial and error,
Hmm.
of trying new approaches. You tried the video, then you tried the voiceover, and you have to like really find what sticks with you in terms of the vision that you
Hmm.
have for your platform. Because I think when you did Valley Vibes, you weren't at the numbers that you were at.
When I did him though, he caught me right when I started going right
Yeah.
because it kind of went in waves, like, and it's like also consistency has a lot to do
Yeah.
with it, you know.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't super consistent with it because yo, those videos took me they still do. They take me a long time, right?
Yeah.
They still take me as long now as when I first started. Like for real, this video I'm gonna post tomorrow morning, I've been working on it off and on for like 3 weeks probably.
Yeah.
Like not literally every day, 3 weeks, but like I'll work on an hour here, hour there, hour here, hour there. And it's like I went and I collected like hella footage and I gotta watch it all and chop it up. And it's like my videos are taking the same amount of time they used to take me, but they're like way better,
Yeah.
way more quality or whatever. So it's like I would be staying up late at night, like for free. Like I wasn't getting paid for nothing for this. I just
Yeah.
was like, I want my video to be better. And so it's like I had the little burnout phases.
Yep.
And then one time like I was at like 2,200 followers or 2,500 followers. It was last summer in August, and I'd been doing it for like just over a year, like a year and a half almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, I made it 2,000. Like for me, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I hit one video, boom, and I got like 3,000 followers from that video.
Yeah.
And then I did another one, boom, and I got like 1,000 followers from that video. And then had a little burnout phase, and I didn't post much. But then earlier this year, I was like, man, my New Year's resolution kind of was like, yo, I'm gonna hit this hard. Like I need to knock out these places, knock out these videos, and post like 3 times a week at least.
Yeah.
And I did that for like a cool 2 months, and just started,
Yeah.
you know.
What
Um,
has been the hardest obstacle with the social media content creating?
Honestly, the time management, really,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because like I just have so much going on. Because like on a side note, once my page started doing well, then people start hitting you up, right? And also like I have a good friend of mine who it's hella funny. Like we were working together for like at least a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't tell nobody about my page in the beginning because I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't want people like, like I said, like it was kind of awkward the first video I was doing. I just wanted to like build it and get
Yeah.
it good and see how it would naturally, organically grow. And I just didn't want to like be like when I go see my friends. Not that they would, they're all cool or whatever. I just didn't want to go visit people or talk to people and they like constantly ask me about it or bring it up or
Mhm.
do whatever. Right? It's just like it's just something I'm working on. I want to keep it close to the chest for right now. So
Yeah.
I I was just keeping close to the chest, and then I was working with my boy, and I find out he's a videographer this whole time,
Oh, no way.
and he runs social media accounts,
Yeah.
also on the side. And I was like, "What, for real?" And then I told him about my page, and he was like, "Bro, I seen your page." I was like, "I've seen you comment. I run this restaurant, certain restaurant, whatever, like
Yeah.
their account. I seen your page," and I was like, "For real?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, keep like I like it." And then he asked me to start helping him, like, I have these accounts. Like, do you think you could help me run them? And since you're getting good with the camera and you're growing your social media, maybe. And so I was like, all right. So as some side dough, I started
Mhm.
doing that, which is another thing on my plate.
Yeah, and it's hella time consuming. People don't
Yeah,
realize
it's
how
hella time
the
consuming.
behind the scenes of all this is a lot.
It's hella time consuming. So the time management has been the hardest part because I work, pretty much my 40 hours. I help out with some pages to make some side dough, and then I have my son like probably just under 50%, like
Yeah.
and on my days off I have him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's like I have to when I have him, I have to focus on him.
Yeah. You got to
You
be
know what I mean?
present.
And it's like it's really hard. Like today, like I finished that video I've been working on when he was napping.
Mhm.
And I was like putting him on down for a nap and just grinding for like two
Yeah.
2 hours real quick. And those are the only times. Or I'll put him to bed and then I stay up. But then it's like that's the other thing has been like the lack of sleep from all of it, because he gets up early. So it's
Mhm.
like I go to sleep like at 1, trying to work on some content for a little bit. And he's waking me up at 7 or 6:30 or whatever. So
Yeah.
I have to find these other windows of opportunities to work on my content, which usually has to go around like my work days.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
then sun schedule. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
feel you with that. Do you have a lot of trolls? Do you deal with them?
Um, Surprisingly, no.
Good.
The bigger videos have gotten nasty comments for sure. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I always tell people like one thing I've learned is like that's what's gonna happen with the video that's popping off.
Yeah.
Like that's a good sign. That's like okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like this is reaching enough people to where some dumbass seen it and he wants to
Yeah.
say some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good way of looking at it.
No, for real. Like I literally think it's like every 20,000 followers you're gonna run into like some dumbass. Like
Yeah.
for real. You know what I mean? So and people have said some nasty shit. Like and in the beginning when my videos first started doing good, I would clap back a little bit. But luckily I've had enough successful videos to where it's like all right, like I don't even have time. Like I've had a couple videos
Yeah.
go so big where the comments were like hella. So it's like, all right, I mean, I can't even fucking keep up with these.
Yeah.
It's like a blessing in a way to where it's like it taught me how to just like ignore them now.
Yep.
Um, but for the most part, no, not really. I feel like the food thing is pretty neutral.
Yeah.
No one has like just most of the like, oh, this fool's
Yeah.
lying or that place was trash or whatever.
Yo, they have
But
opposite
yeah,
opinions of the places you've gone to.
but
Well, in your opinion, what is by far one of the top places that you ate at?
um, man, depend like I'd have to go like city by city kind of. It's
Okay.
hard.
In Sacramento.
Sacramento, okay, my one of my favorite restaurants ever
Yeah.
is in Elk Grove. It's
Okay.
called Palermo. Have you ever heard of it?
Palermo.
It's
I don't
right off
think I
Elk Grove
have.
Boulevard. It's kind of like in the cuts right there. You would never know that this is. I hate to say it's a hidden gem because I think it's like gotten some success with like the Sacramento News and Review and like Sacramento
Mhm.
Bee and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
they were like a number one this, number one
What kind
that
of food they
before.
have?
It's Sicilian.
Sicilian
Yeah, so it's
food.
like Italian, but I think Sicilian is more like seafood based, kind of like
Oh,
heavy
okay.
seafood.
Okay.
So they have like crab raviolis. You like seafood?
I love seafood.
They have crab raviolis. They got the bomb ass chicken parm. They have this lasagna that's like this. It's like the size of a dinner plate.
Oh
It's hella
shoot.
big. It's like 15, 20 layers. It's hella big. Like I haven't gone and done a video there, and I need to. And it's gonna sound like I'm being biased because it was my first job.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that place is like ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And also recently I went to Kobe Steak and Sushi. Have you ever been there?
Nope.
That's in Elk Grove too.
You hear this, baby? You jotting down notes
Yeah,
for date
Kobe
night?
Steak and Sushi. It's right off of Laguna. It's a hibachi, but it's like sushi also. That
Yeah.
place is pretty fire.
So, not to get all up in the numbers, but when you first started doing this, that's like an investment, no? To have to go to these places and buy the
Yeah,
food.
yeah, for real.
Like, that costs dough.
So like, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I was paying for these places, right? So like, I remember the first time I got my first free meal, I was like, damn, thank you. You know, like that's what's up.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was good, so I could advertise it. But then I did start running into situations where it's like, yo, you have to pump out content,
Yeah.
all right? And it's like, you know, you're also gonna spend bread when you go to these places. So like, when people want to offer you something free, or they want you to invite you to their restaurant, then you're like, okay, like, you know, it's like what's that called? Compromising situation a little bit. You know what I mean?
Why?
Well, because it's like if
Wait,
someone,
because you have to give them a good review?
yeah, it's like you
Like,
feel obligated a little bit, right? So like, you know, these are all. This is me in my younger stage, kind of trying to figure this out. Now I kind of have a formula in the way I do things, and I've figured out how to like navigate those waters, you know,
yeah.
so to speak. But
I feel like if I was in your shoes, my approach would be like, I'm letting you know right now, I'm gonna keep it a buck, okay?
yeah,
This
well,
is
like going back to
contractual.
like what I said when I first started this, I wasn't really looking to be like a critic or a review. Like I
Yeah.
said, the people I always admired that do this, they just showing people places to eat, right?
Yeah.
So there was a couple situations where it's like, this was okay. Luckily, I know how to pick spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have a good eye.
Yeah.
So there's very few situations where I feel like I've picked something that it sucked. There was, and then in the beginning, it did happen once that I can think of once. I'm sure it probably happened more than once, but I know I went to this place. They asked me to come out. My boy was actually like does like social media and stuff for them. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna help you out, and you're running the account. You know, like my page is doing good. I'm gonna do a video. The food was actually good, but I had known before that the food was kind of basic. But I ordered like something fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I tried to do my video, like, I was like, oh, damn, this food was actually pretty good today. But
Yeah.
I've known this place for a long time, and I know the food's kind of but I wouldn't say mid like that or nothing, but I would say basic, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, and so, like, I was like, all right, like, if you come here, order this, or this is what you should come here and order, and they got these fire drinks or whatever, like, and I make sure I don't give them that Fat Boy certified stamp. Now that I'm a little more into it, I'm like, yo, people want an honest review. Because what would happen with people will go to that place
Yeah.
and they wouldn't order what I said, order this, right? They would order something cheap or something, whatever, like something. I'm like, what? Well, what? And I never understood that. Like, if I were advertising something, I'm like, go to this place and eat this.
Yeah.
And they go to that place and they try it. They don't eat what I tell them to. And they're like, oh, that place sucked. I'm like, well, I didn't tell your ass to get the fucking, you know what I mean?
I told you specifically.
Yeah, I told you
get
go
what
get
was
the
good.
garlic shrimp and you over here getting the loco moco. Like, that's an acquired taste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a true story, though. Actually, my boy, I told him, go to this place, get the garlic shrimp. And he goes and got a loco moco. I'm like, I didn't tell you to go there and get a loco moco, bro. He was like, I didn't like it.
So
I'm like, loco moco is like very particular. Like, you have to either like that type of stuff or not. You
yeah.
know?
Okay. So now y'all know that if he recommends something specifically
Yeah.
get that thing.
Right? But now I've learned to where I tell him, like, yo, I'll give you guys like an honest review or this or that. Or like, people are looking for that review style thing. And then I think it also adds respect to you and credibility to your
Yeah.
name, right? So I've been like, all right, I'm gonna give, you know, the people what I want. So now I just try to be upfront, and I'm learning how to do the honest review thing, because
Yeah.
there was a couple times where like, okay, I kind of like went too far and like shit on them a little too hard, I
Yeah.
feel like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, now I need to figure out how to word it and be nice, you know?
Trial and
I'm
error.
not trying to burn no businesses down.
Yeah.
Maybe I caught them on a bad day or something, you know? And so like I'm kind of like, now I kind of like put it out there like, yo, like I'm gonna give an honest review. And then it sucks too, because you never know if they're like going over above and beyond for you. That's one thing I
Yeah.
can't control.
Yeah.
Like if they know I'm coming and they make this shit on point, maybe
Yeah.
they put a little extra cheese on it or a little extra this or that.
I saw that
I don't know.
online. There's a like viral video going around about Chipotle. Go to Chipotle and
Yeah.
fucking pull your phone out and be like, Chipotle's hooking up my
Yeah.
food right now, because they're more likely to like not skimp on the rice or the
I-
beans and shit. And I was like, man, He loves fat burritos from
Uh,
Chipotle, so I'm about to go there and be
I used
like,
to get the burrito bowls with tortilla on the side. That was my go-to.
Yeah, I used to work at Chipotle, and I was mean on tortilla one. And I'd hook everybody up fat, and they would get on my ass about it so much. They would be like, "Don't do that," and
I
I'd be
s-
like, "Y'all don't pay me enough to not hook people up,"
for real.
because that's just I don't know. That's just how I am.
I seen the memes where it's like working in Chipotle in 2024, and they got the people. You ever seen those memes?
No.
It's like working in Chipotle in 2024, and it's just like it's just a worker like looking up, and someone's like just recording the shit out of
Yeah.
them. You know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
marketing, right? You don't want to look fucking stingy. Well, these
Yeah.
big corps know that. But on another note, how far do you want to take this?
How far do I want to take this? I think I'm too far to turn back. There's been times where this was hard, and I was like, man, I'm about to quit this shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's too far, and I honestly feel like I still haven't been able to give it my 1,000%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I haven't even pushed it to
Yeah.
where I mean, like if you look at my page right now, like I posted like twice in the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've been so busy, and it's like I got videos lined up. I think there's gonna be a little wave here where it's like, all right, I'm gonna catch up on posts like 3 times a week for like the next 3 weeks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, it's too far. I've gone too far to turn back
So
now.
fuck it, wherever the
And
wind
there's
takes
been
you.
so many, like the networking, the people I've been meeting, like the doors that have opened that just I didn't even think would open. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I've created something now that has a value to it, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm gonna definitely take advantage of that, and not like in a bad way, with good intentions, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
there's a lot of things I want to do. I gotta figure out like if there's a way to make that leap from into something that can provide for me this
Yeah.
way. You know, there's times where I was like this, I was like, I'm about to quit my job, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, luckily I kind of like pumped the brakes and took a couple, some deep breaths. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find that balance right now. But hopefully down the line, I'll find something
Yeah.
like,
Because those
or an
like
avenue.
event
Yeah. Yeah.
spaces, I feel like would be the space to make money in, or
Yeah.
like, you know,
Hmm.
have that monetary gain. But then
Yeah. It's,
I think you and I learned our
yeah,
lesson.
we
We better
learned,
be
yeah, it gets ugly,
we
and
better
it
be
gets like,
cool with
man, like
whoever's throwing the
I'm
events.
definitely pumping my brakes on the event thing right now, but I do want to have smaller. I want to start small, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the biggest thing I've learned. Start small, and work with people you trust, and work with
Yes.
people that can share the same vision and have good intentions too. That's definitely in the works. Events,
Yeah.
I have like some dope ass events up in here. In the vault up in here, like I have some dope ass shit. Like it's just about making it happen, putting in that time, that work, and it's just like I don't want to bite off more than I can chew right now.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna start kind of small. Like
Good.
maybe at a local park or something, because I've been connecting with these food vendors from all over the place, the Bay Area, up here in Sac, and it's like what I want to do for, Stockton or the whole 209 really, but I've been living in Stockton the last 5 or 6 years, and I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and there's a need there,
Yeah.
too. I want to bring some things to the area that you can't get every day.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I
heck
mean?
yeah. I'm excited to see that, and I wish you all the well in your ventures. Well, Marco, sorry, I'm so used to calling him Marco, what is the biggest lesson you learned from life before we wrap up?
Oh, biggest lesson I've learned from life. Um, I would say maybe it's very hard, but it's all about finding balance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very much so about finding balance. Life is all about balance. Like it don't matter how you want to twist it or put it or whatever. You could be talking about anything, and it's just you got to find the balance, and consistency,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
whatever you do, like just you can't be afraid to work hard. You know what I mean?
Yep. Amen. I
So,
co-sign that. I actually believe that balance is one of the fundamental keys to life.
oh yeah, and if you're not finding the balance will be found for you, and you don't
Yeah.
want that to happen. You know what I
No.
mean? Because
Yep.
then it means like something the teetering is tottering, and it's gonna follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Lessons will be learned the
oh
hard
yeah,
way, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, Marco, thank you so
Yeah,
much for
I
coming on the
appreciate you.
podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad to showcase you. Where can people find you at?
On TikTok and on Instagram, my page Fat Boy Grubbin. That's pretty much all I do right now is just
All
TikTok,
right.
Instagram.
And I will link those so that they can
Hell yeah,
access you. All right, you guys,
appreciate you.
go check out his food reviews. Bye-bye.